Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Speakers Collaborative studio session. My name is Cody Hand, the founder and producer of the Speakers Collaborative. We are an innovative program giving aspiring speakers and authors and presenters and executives and everybody else a platform to share their stories that inspire. I'm really excited for today's guest, Collin. Collin is probably every bit of the man that I think I could be in another life if I were as adventurous as him. But I'm going to welcome him to the stage and let's get this thing rolling. Collin,
Hey
how are you?
Cody, I'm doing well, man. Great to be here. Thank you.
Great to have you. Thank you for joining us all the way from Alaska. What part of Alaska are you in today?
We are near Palmer right now, actually, so about an hour north of Anchorage. We move all over what's called South Central Alaska for our work. So yeah,
That is amazing. Tell me a little bit about more about you, how you got there, your story, your family, all the things. Just let us know who you are.
Yeah, so I grew up actually in Texas, in between San Antonio and Austin, on a little ranch with some horses. My mom is a surgeon, and my dad actually led organ transplant teams and stuff like that. And I have a bunch of people in the medical world. But yeah, I grew up in New Braunfels and
Yeah.
kind of spent my time playing outside and stuff like that as much as I could, but also had some real significant health challenges growing up, and especially into my teenage years, like wasn't able to keep up with school, was not able to really be active, and we thought I might be blind or even not live like into my 20s. And so there was a combination of like autoimmune stuff and things like that. Some of it went into remission because it was juvenile, and others like I really had to kind of take control of my nutrition and my fitness to help that. So all of a sudden you've got this kid who is kind of grown up in Texas and has a little bit of a taste for adventure, but also hasn't been able to do much. Kind of gets healthy and gets a second chance. And I think that kind of like put a bug in the back of my mind. Like, okay, you've kind of get one try. I already feel like I'm on my second chance. And so I want to do something. So when I got out of school, I went to Dallas and I was working for a marketing agency. And really, really quickly, it felt to me like this wasn't the right fit for me. I'm on someone else's time. I'm in an office. This is a fantastic place, like great people, and they're still growing and doing awesome work. But I started like freelancing on the side and doing photo video stuff, and kind of quickly matched my income with that and said, you know what, like I'm gonna jump. And that didn't mean that I had like built up savings or anything like that. It was just like I'm gonna jump. And I did. And at the same time, my wife Kendall and I, we were getting married. She was a nurse in Fort Worth, and we were like, why don't I had like remote work, and she was able to do like travel nursing contracts, and we had visited California a little bit, and we were like, why don't we go and like go west and see some cooler stuff. So we did. We took a contract there, and then went out to Utah. And in the midst of all this, we're transitioning my creative business kind of out of the corporate world more into the outdoor world, and that launched pretty well, and we were able to go and create kind of commercial work for like outdoor gear brands, clothing companies, and stuff like that for a couple of years, and traveled around the Southwest. But as we were traveling, like we kept heading a little bit further north, and we ended up in like Wyoming and Montana, and then we did a winter in Park City, Utah, and Kendall had visited Alaska one time in college, and she was just like, "Can we just go to Alaska?" So we're like, "Yeah, we'll go to Alaska. It's middle of summer." And like the moment we landed there, we were just totally in love. It gave us an edge to our business, creating content from Alaska, as well as like the people and the scenery and just everything about it. And so yeah, we wound up here. So now today we are running a production company that is Alaska only, and we create like high-end cinematic epic ads for all kinds of industries. Like I said, we've worked in the outdoor space for a while, and you would think that it's like Patagonia and North Face and tourism, but we're actually having a lot of fun with like software and tech and all these different really fun. We just did a dude wipes shoot that we dropped, and all these different really, really fun concepts where we can take these beautiful kind of pattern disrupt sceneries that we have, but then bring it to places where they're just not using anything like that, and it's working really, really well. So we're having fun with that. So kind of in a nutshell, yeah, that's how we ended up here, and what we're up to now.
That's awesome. Yeah, my I mischaracterized you today as a helicopter pilot, but you said not yet.
I'm a
Um,
helicopter enthusiast. I want to be a
an
pilot.
enthusiast, but not yet a pilot. But I really loved the post about the Dude Wipes campaign that you
Yeah.
did, strapping the toilet to the side of the helicopter. I'm sure that looked great. And yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, check out their campaign for Dude Wipes. There's a toilet in an ice cave. I'm not going to give any more away, but it's epic. I got to tell you, it's really great. I appreciate that background. That's awesome. You know, you have a kid, right?
Yeah, I have a
Yeah,
son,
yeah. And
18 months, and then a daughter coming in the next 3 weeks or so.
oh wow, congratulations! But they come with
Thank
you,
you.
right?
Yeah, much of the time they do. When it's appropriate, like all the oftentimes when we're out on the glacier, especially on smaller production, because a lot of the stuff we do, our clients can come to us for creative. They can get a concept. We can go out. We can do production. We don't have to have a big crew and stuff like that. We can when necessary, but when I can get out there on small stuff, and especially our son loves helicopters when we're flying out. Yeah, they're right there with us. So he'll be sometimes in a backpack while I'm shooting or playing off to the side or whatever, which is super cool. We want them to be involved.
That is great. You know,
Yeah,
part of creating your own life and living your life as you've created it is you can bring them along.
yeah,
And you're not gone for 8 hours a day while they're growing up. They're with you.
right.
That's fantastic. All right, it is your turn. Every time we do a studio session at the Speakers Collaborative, we leave the stage and we provide you an opportunity to talk directly to your clients and your audience. So I'm going to give you anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. If you need longer than that, take it. When you're ready for me to jump back on stage, just throw up the bat signal or whatever it is. And yeah, I'm going to leave it to you. Have a good one, Colin. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't know that I even have 5 minutes to say, but I can think of two things that I kind of want to say that are valuable, and that I have learned in our space, and it's all regurgitated content, but it's what I have been learning. So the number one thing that we like to do with our clients is like just create a real connection. Um, I think one of the things that a lot of us are really turned off by, especially like this is a big conversation on LinkedIn, is what you would otherwise call like inauthentic. I think authenticity is maybe there's a lack of a taste for that word right now, but there's real value. Like if you are selling a product, selling a service, selling yourself, connecting with people, like it is all about relationships. It is all about value, and it is all about the human connection. So that's something that we like to find with the people that we're creating with is that you've got to go beyond just your product or your service or your features into like someone's day and into their emotions and into the way that that you make them feel, which can be like epic or funny in the case of Dude Wipes, or emotional and relatable. I'm working on a film actually for a local like visitors board and a CVB that's rebranding here, and it's not funny, but it is epic because it's Alaska and it's way more the human element and people's stories and how that relates to them. So across the board, I'm always looking for, okay, like how do we make people feel and connect with this emotionally? And you have to do that with your service, and with your product and with your business. And then beyond that, like you have to stand out. Like you've got to stop people's scroll. You've got to make a promise to them that there's value, and then you've got to fulfill that value. So beyond that, kind of what we do with our clients, a lot of people ask like, are you just creating epic for the sake of epic, or do you just go out and film this stuff and you're just selling people, Alaska or glaciers or helicopters or whatever it is because it's cool? And yeah, I'm doing it because it's cool and it's the life that I like want to live and what I love. But like I mentioned, being in the agency and having this background and working this space for years, what I really really like to do and kind of what I have a mind for, and we'll get into this later when he asks what I'm reading and what I'm learning and what I'd suggest that you do, is like I spend a ton of time learning about business and entrepreneurship and marketing and what's working. And that's what I love to do with my clients. So if you are like, I was just on a call with a company that's doing like cybersecurity and compliance consulting and implementation and stuff like that, and spent like an hour learning about like how his business works and all of that. and then that's where I can go and find the concepts and have some fun and, like actually come up with funny, because I understand how your business works, how people come into it, and like why they're buying, why they're not buying, who your competitors are, what that space is, and kind of like how to fix things. So I love getting into a business. I love hearing what's working. I love breaking down a marketing funnel, and I love creating content that aligns with that. So, beyond that, like I love hearing from my clients, and I don't like to ramble too much. And looks like that was like 4.5 minutes, so maybe a little bit short. So hopefully that was helpful, but you got to stand out and you got to tie it back to what you're doing economically, so it actually moves the needle when you're creating content like we do. That's what I would want to say.
That was fantastic. That was a lot of
Awesome.
info in 4.5 minutes. That was great. Um, yeah, there's a ton there, a ton to pack there. I also love that you read the agenda, so you know what's coming up here in the Speakers
sorry
Collaborative.
to sorry to give away your show.
No, you're good. I love it. I love it.
maybe
That makes
that'll
me
maybe that'll keep people watching. We'll get less bounces
feel
now.
like people read that stuff. Anyway, well, let's get straight to it then. What are you reading?
So frankly, I don't spend a lot of time reading, though I should. Part of it is like, just this generation's attention span, and part of it is my time. I spend a lot of time listening. So I love Audible, and I really right now, like who isn't in a podcast? I'm really, really obsessed with the Founders podcast. I've been on a couple podcasts and then had to apologize for recommending the Founders podcast lately. But just like studying entrepreneurship, also listening to sales. I like Jeb Blunt, I like Alex Hermosi, stuff like that. Figuring out like what really moves the needle with business, but figuring out like how great leaders run their organizations, and sell and that type of stuff has been so valuable for me. So I spend significantly more time reading stuff like that or sales. So I read Jeb Blunt. It was recommended to me to read a book called Win Without Pitching. Fantastic book if you're in the creative space and you want to learn how to create a more collaborative conversation with your clients and find results for them. Like I was just saying, really, really good book for that. But yeah, I have found that, maybe you'd expect me to be studying cinematography and stuff like that. And I think I could just create outsized results with understanding my clients' businesses and how to connect them with customers than by understanding that much more deeply the history of film or whatever it is. So I'm a little bit more of a business person than an artist, but I love my art and I have a really, really cool, you know, background to work with, to create with. And I'm obsessed. My wife is this amazing. She's so obsessed with detail. She's kind of like the Steve Jobs in my life. She has a simple stick. She's just like brutal with her feedback, but it helps in a very good way. She's like just so obsessed with quality that it really, really helps us do excellent work. So I am thinking about those things, but yeah, I'm not answering that very clearly at all, but I'm always learning about great businesses and the leaders that have run them, so that I can learn how to do that, but also how to think like that for my clients.
Yeah,
And I,
that's great. I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than a detail-oriented wife. I know this firsthand. Um,
she's amazing.
you do produce amazing work. I mean, I think the videography and the cinematography that you do is
Yeah.
awesome, but having somebody behind you that pays attention to the little nitty-bitty, nitpicky details, that's what sets you apart, um,
Yeah.
from somebody who doesn't have that,
Yeah.
and I love
And
that.
she does the entire the dude writes all of the cinematography and photography is her hands. So she's got the camera in hand there as well. I was not shooting on that one because I was modeling on that one. But yeah, she doesn't let anything but A+ work go out the door, which is huge because I can be a little bit too squirrel. Uh,
That's awesome. Let's see
yeah.
what else you wanna talk about today. What do you shoot with?
We do for the most part, all of our stuff on the ground with the DJI Ronin 4D. So that allows me to do really, it's like nimble and lean and has 4-axis stabilization and can shoot 8K raw. Our photo work is on Fujifilm. X-T5 is the primary platform there, and then aerial work is on the Inspire 3. So that allows me across video to keep everything 8K raw and to keep color. There's my dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's an animal back there.
It's my little husky. She just lives outside. So yeah, that's what I shoot on, and obviously we can flex some if a project requires airy or red or something like that. We can do that. But I really like DJI these days and photo on Fujifilm, just because their color science is amazing.
So it's no doubt that what you do is adventurous. Probably every day there's an adventure that for those of us down in the lower 48, it might be something we do once in a lifetime. You probably do it once a week or so. But what is, if you could narrow it down, what is the most adventurous project you've ever done?
Yeah. So, like, on the whole, probably the craziest thing that we've done is off-grid winters. So I'm in this Airstream, and for years, this Airstream was our full-time home. We have lived in this and only this, moving all around, all over Alaska. And in the warm months, we're in this all the time because we move all over the state for production work, and it's kind of like our base camp now, which is amazing. And we're kind of close to a town, but also surrounded by mountains. So we're like almost always out there. I have to remind myself, like, this is the stuff that people like, is a once in a lifetime vacation. It's just like there it is outside my window. But doing, like -20, -30, literally for like weeks and months at a time, chainsawing into like 20-inch frozen lakes to get water out and filter it, cutting down dead standing spruce to like heat with wood, stuff like that while
Uh-huh.
we're working. It's just been absolutely crazy. So I think that's something that like resonates with people. I haven't done a post about that for a bit, but it usually does really well. So yeah, those yeah, coming up to Alaska, and then like project wise specifically, yeah, everything is kind of wild when you think about it. We're doing, like ice fishing. It was like -22, and we're out on this lake and shooting ice fishing gear this winter. And obviously, in the last couple weeks, I put a toilet on a helicopter and flew it out to an ice cave and all of that. So yeah, spend a lot of time on helicopters, getting out to glaciers and all that type of stuff. And I'm excited because we have a couple concepts with glacier pools and icebergs and things like that coming up this summer. So, yeah, we get to be in these environments that sometimes people just don't even understand what it is. And they go, oh, that's a cool snowfield. And I'm like, no, no, that's 27 miles of ice, 27 miles long, 4 miles wide, 700 feet deep. Always moving, creating these just like insane environments that you would just couldn't imagine. And so our pilot that we fly with a lot says, like, I've had people who have seen the pyramids, they've dived the Great Barrier Reef, they've been all over the world, and still sometimes they're brought to tears when we come over the ridge and they see this glacier and they realize just like the vastness and the majesty of it. And there's like 100,000 of these glaciers in this state, and it's absolutely incredible. So yeah, just choosing to live here and mostly live off grid has probably been the craziest adventure that we've done. And it's also given us our edge and our connection to the environment that we have.
Def- Definitely. And glaciers move. So would you say then this is your office, right? Alaska is basically your office.
Yeah.
Would you say because the glaciers move every day, you get a different shot every time you go out to shoot?
Yeah, every season, they're moving, like inches or a foot or
Uh-huh.
two per year, something like that. So they're very slowly changing. But also in the summer, the water is moving and it's sculpting them and all of that. And so yeah, you really can have radically different features from day to day, or at least from week to week. And the entire environment, people think of Alaska as either like dark in the winter or cold, but I mean we have these 24-hour sun and incredible summers, and this is all going to be green with no snow in a few weeks here. And
Uh-huh.
this is actually a riverbed out here that will be just like absolutely flooded as the snow melts and the glacier starts melting. And so yeah, stuff like really really changes. So especially over a season, one environment can become completely unrecognizable over the next, which is, yeah, it's really cool. It keeps you on your toes, whereas like in Texas where I grew up, you kind of just have summer and less summer.
Summer less summer and once or twice
Yeah, and
every
then one random freeze where everybody goes running off the roads.
yeah, no joke. That yeah, I've been to that part of Texas. It's just always fun. Um, what would you tell yourself? This is a question I ask a lot of people.
Mm.
If you could go back 5 years, what would you tell yourself to the then you that you know now?
Yeah, I would tell him 2 things. I would tell him to get around great community. You rise to the level of your environment and not to your goals. Surround yourself with better people and start networking. Like LinkedIn has been for me, a lot of my network is digital just because I'm here in Alaska, but I'm also constantly trying to meet with business owners and connect with people around here as well. Surround yourself with great people and they're going to raise you up. Just those connections, you have no idea what can come from it. And then 2, learn from people who are ahead of you. Like for us building a production company, like I can call other people who are successful at it and say, hey, can I have 30 minutes of your time? And people do that. I keep a block on my calendar every week because people are always asking, hey, can I pick your brain? So I'm like, yeah, here's my time. Grab a time, we can do that. So like, just call someone ahead of you and get some advice and learn and ask through the things that you're going to spend years trying to figure out. Because people say you can't buy time, but you can buy it from people who have done it, and you can
Mhm.
bring their knowledge into your present and save yourself years of pain that I did cost myself. I spent my 20s learning how to do everything the hardest way possible. But don't we
I,
all?
yeah, no, I love the way you have said that because we hear so many times, especially entrepreneurs, don't ask to pick people's brain, right? They've almost made us afraid of it. I don't want
Yeah,
to burden you by not paying you for your time, but I would love to get some wisdom. I love that you actually block the time in your calendar so that people can pick your brain. But I also
yeah,
think it's important to also remember that the people ahead of you are ahead of you for a reason, and they don't want you not to succeed,
right,
right? It's
right.
only the people that don't want you to succeed who are behind you.
Yeah,
So the people ahead of you, ask them for help. They want to share their knowledge and their wisdom.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
such great advice.
Yeah, and if you're in that place where you've got people you wanna share and you got people coming to you, you're more successful than me, whatever it is, the biggest thing that I learned is, like, have maker and manager days. Have days where people cannot get access to you and do your deep, hard work, and then have days where people do have access to you. So I have
Right.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, I stack calls with clients all day. I've got one coming up here in 8 minutes anyway, but but I do that and it's fantastic. I just spend all day with people and then I block off a time where I'm not selling anything, whatever. It's just you can come to me because people have given that to me and it's just been tremendously valuable. And I think I should pay that back. And so if you're struggling with that, just put a time. One time a week. It can be whatever it is, it can be 15 minutes, whatever you want to give away. And when people ask for it, just say, grab the time here and they'll make it happen. You don't have to stop every day, and you sure don't have to stop your deep work because your deep work is what's gotten you where you are, and it's
Yeah,
what's getting you to that next vision that you're trying to 10x. And you've got to protect that time. And so, yeah, that's been super helpful for me. Is just to split up my days in that way. And I have to do that at home too. There's days where I can get work done and in Milo's naps, and then there's days where we schedule it out and I'm just going and I'm doing a deep focus day, and I'm able to be efficient. So that's a recommendation I would give to anyone who's juggling with the pick my brain thing. I think you should give away some of your time. I think it's going to come back to you in spades.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
think you're spot on. And actually, my calendar system, I can send out a link for specifically for that. So I do just like you. I block specific time for those sorts of requests. And I send the calendar request to those folks. That's different,
Yep.
right? So they can block
Right.
that specific time. The
Exactly.
other
Yep.
thing,
I have just a
yeah,
separate calendar for it.
yeah. The
Yeah.
other
It's
thing
amazing.
that I do that I recommend to everybody is the first Monday of every month is blocked completely from everything.
Yep.
And I spend that as a day to reflect on the previous month and plan the next
Mhm.
out. And
Wise.
I guard that time like nobody's business. Like
Yeah.
my family can't even get time on there until 5 o'clock. Yeah, that's great. Hey, quick question. What do you have? Do you have any questions for us? I realize I put that in the agenda. I never ask people
um, I don't know. I guess I should have. Who's us? For the audience?
that. No, us. Sometimes we talk about ourselves in the plural. Cody Hand, the Speakers Collaborative, whatever.
Um, man, no, I came prepared to talk about myself, man. I'm kidding.
That's great.
Um,
That's great.
no, it's same for you. What would you tell yourself 5, 10, 20 years ago, whatever it is?
So mine is 2 years ago. So I was corporate counsel for a very long time, and then a couple of
Yeah?
years ago, I went out on my own. And I would tell myself the thing that was told to me when I asked that very question 3 years ago of some of my closest friends: know your worth.
Yeah.
And what that means to me, knowing my worth. means that I have something that others don't that they want,
Mm, mhm.
that it's valuable, and it's not just valuable to me, it's valuable to them. And it is something that I've spent the last 20 something years developing. It is worth something. And if somebody's not
Yeah,
willing to pay it, they're not my people. And that's
yeah,
okay, right? It's okay if they don't want to pay me for the value that I provide. Somebody
yeah,
else will.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's huge. How has that panned out for you since you feel like you've really, integrated that and taken that to heart?
It's tough. Even now, I prejudge others and their
Mm,
ability, especially in my legal practice. I judge others and their ability to pay the full price for the services that I provide.
yeah,
And so sometimes I'll give myself a discount before I even tell them what the price is.
yeah,
I've had to stop doing that because most people, they say, "Oh, that's all." Well, I can't think of, "Oh, wait, never mind. I meant to go higher," right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, yeah, so it's been fascinating for me to learn how to put the value on what I do
mm, yeah,
and how to hold firm to it and
yeah,
not. And then the other thing I say is, know your worth and don't give it away.
right,
Right? I think
yeah,
there's something about providing value to people for free to entice them in, but I think once they're in, they not only should pay, but they expect to pay what you're worth.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. No, I agree with that, and, on the kind of to riff on that and to leverage that, one of the biggest things that has been really, really valuable for us that I know some people who go broad. We personally are going very, very deep in a very, very specific niche. And so the more you can make yourself a one of one where there just is no comparison and you're taking really good care of people and you're creating something really, really high quality, then um that the pricing, you can drive your prices from there, but it's got to be valuable on the back end as well. You're not just driving prices up because you're greedy. You're doing it because you are highly, highly specialized. You're doing it because you've invested a tremendous amount of time and resources into it, and because you understand and you're really, really clear, and you're having a great conversation with your client about how that makes a significant difference for them. And so that for me is sometimes I talk to companies who are too early for us or who don't quite have their marketing channels figured out yet. And I'm like, our content absolutely puts fuel on the fire of a channel that's working.
that's right.
But it doesn't fix broken. And so there are people where I've said like, I can't take your money now because I can't be really sure that you're going to see it back on the back end. And I like to have clients who stick with me and who refer me rather than who go, oh, I overspent on that. And now I understand what my business is.
Now I'm paying for it.
So yeah, that I think that's tremendous.
That's right. All right, we're running up on your next appointment, so I want to be respectful of your time. So,
Thank you,
Colin,
man.
tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, you can find me here on LinkedIn, Collin Strawn. You can Google Alaska photographer guy Collin. But yeah, go to alaskaproductioncompany.com is our website. But please feel free if you're following me here, send me a connection request, send me a message, whatever it is. And then my wife has a fairly good audience on Instagram. It's Kendall Strawn, and if you want to just like learn more about our life and follow along on Instagram and all the fun things, then that's the place to go for that.
Awesome. Hey,
Yeah.
man, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to let you go, but if you don't mind, I'm going to replay the video that we started the first of the session with because I thought it was
Yeah.
really good. And
Sounds great.
Jathan thought it was great too. He said great conversation and
What's
great.
up, Jathan? Good to see you,
Yeah,
man.
he and I had a great conversation last week. But
Cool.
I'm going to let you go to your next appointment. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody else, for joining, and we will see you all next week.
Yeah. Thank you.